Hi, hello students. How are you? I hope you are all fine and safe at home. Already I have taught Geography Lesson 1, Lithosphere on Endogenetic Processes. So in that lesson, I taught about the spheres of the earth, structure of the earth, different types of rocks, earthquake, seismic wave, tsunami and volcanoes. So today we can learn about Geography Lesson 2, Lithosphere 2, Exogenetic Processes. Exo means what? Outside. What is happening outside the earth? Already in the previous lesson we have learned about what is happening inside the earth. So exogenetic processes. Here in this lesson we are going to learn about the various external processes of the earth and also different types of weathering and the weathered materials are how it is transported by the movement, and also we are going to learn about the erosional and depositional landform features associated with rivers, underground water, glaciers, winds and waves. So first one, we all know how our earth is, whether it is same. No, often it will change. The earth is a dynamic system. Dynamic, what do you mean by dynamic? Dynamic means it will change. Often it will change. How it will change means due to internal and external processes. So the earth is the dynamic system that undergoes various changes due to internal and external processes. The continuous interaction of these two processes control the structure of the Earth's surface. The external processes are the consequence of solar energy and gravitational forces, whereas the internal processes are an outcome of the Earth's internal heat. Now in this lesson we are going to study about exogenetic processes. This exogenetic process is divided into weathering and mass movement and gradation. Again, this weathering is divided into three types. They are the physical weathering, chemical weathering and biological weathering. And gradation to degradation and aggradation. Next, weathering. Students, what's the meaning for weathering? Weathering means what? Weathering is the breaking, disintegration and decomposition of materials of the Earth's crust by their exposure to atmosphere. So there is one question, what do you mean by weathering? Weathering is the breaking, disintegration and decomposition of materials of the Earth crust by their exposure to atmosphere. So this weathering was divided into three types. What are the three types of weathering? Physical weathering, chemical weathering, biological weathering. Okay. Listen carefully. What are the three types of weather? They are the physical weathering, chemical weathering and the biological weathering. About one by one we are going to learn about this detail. First one is the physical weathering. What do you mean by physical weathering? So it is the breakdown of rocks without changing the chemical composition through the action of physical force. So how this physical weathering will happen means the constant freezing and thawing of rocks during the night and day leads to the expansion and contraction of rocks. Due to that, what happens means disintegration will occur. The cracks are formed and disintegration occurs often. So, what are the different types of physical weathering? Exfoliation, block disintegration, granular disintegration are the different types of physical weathering. So, once again, what do you recall? What do you mean by physical weathering? It is the breakdown of rocks without changing their chemical composition through the action of physical forces. While it is dividing, we can see there is no change at all. So this how it happen means due to day and night, due to the freezing and thawing of rocks during the night. And they lead to the expansion and contraction of rocks. So during daytime it will expand, and during night time it will contract. So due to that, what will happen? The rocks will break. So constant freezing. What is the meaning of freezing? Uraidal. And thawing. Thawing means it will be expand of rock during the night and day, leads to the expansion and contraction of rocks. Cracks are formed and disintegration occurs often. What will happen? Because of this, due to the expansion and contraction of these rocks, what will happen? Cracks will form. So this physical weathering, there are different types of physical weathering. They are the exfoliation, block disintegration, granular disintegration. What do you mean by exfoliation? Exfoliation means the alternate heating and cooling on rounded rock surface leads to the peeling of rocks layer by layer like an onion. What happens means, in this type of rock, it will be happen like an onion peel, onion skin. How we are removing the onion skin, like that it will be happen. The alternate heating and cooling on rounded rock surface leads to the peeling of rocks layer by layer like an onion. So it is called exfoliation weathering. Next one, block disintegration. How this block was disintegrated, how this it was happened means, because of the repeated expansion and contraction of rocks during day and night, it will happen. It will be disintegrated into many pieces, and also at the same time, often it was happening means there will arise and stress on the joint of the rocks, which result in block disintegration. Next one is the granular disintegration. Granular, what do you mean by granular? It is a minute small pieces of rocks or change into sand. Granular disintegration take place in crystalline rocks. Mostly we can, what type of rock we can see this granular disintegration? We can see this granular disintegration in the crystalline rocks, where the grains or rocks become loose and fall out. Next, exfoliation. What do you mean by exfoliation? It is already we have learned the meaning for this exfoliation. The alternate heating and cooling on a rounded rock surface leads to peeling of rocks layer by layer like an onion. This is called exfoliation. What is the another form of exfoliation? Sheeting and scattering. What is the another form of exfoliation? Sheeting and scattering are the other forms of exfoliation. Sheeting. What is meant by sheeting? Sheeting means what? It was removing that urethral. And scattering means it was normal or the other form of exfoliation. Next one is the granular disintegration. From this picture we can find out this granular disintegration. Granular disintegration mostly in what type of rocks it will form? Students, crystalline rocks. What type of rocks? This granular disintegration will take place in the crystalline rocks, where the grains of the rocks become looser and fall out. This is due to the action of temperature and frost, due to the heat and due to cold. Because of that only what will happen? This disintegration will happen in the crystalline types of rocks. Block disintegration. What do you mean by block disintegration? Repeated expansion and contraction of rocks during day and night causes stress on the joint of the rock, which result in block disintegration. So next one is the chemical weathering. Students, what do you know about this chemical weathering? Here, this disintegration and decomposition of rocks due to chemical reaction is called chemical weathering. This is predominantly high in the hot and humid regions such as the equatorial, tropical and subtropical zones. So where we can see all this weathering, chemical weathering mostly happens in the equatorial region or tropical region or the subtropical zone. These areas only we can see this chemical weathering. Next, chemical weathering take place through the processes of four types. They are the oxidation, carbonation, solution and hydration. So, what are the agent of chemical weathering? The agent of chemical weathering are oxygen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen and water. First one, oxidation. What do you mean by oxidation? This rusting of iron. How this iron get rusted? Due to water. So, oxygen in the atmosphere react with the iron found in rock, thus leads to the formation of iron oxide. This process similar to the rusting of iron, pressure of air and water is known as oxidation, which result in the weakening of rocks. So, students, please listen. Oxidation, how it happens means oxygen in the atmosphere. In the atmosphere, we are having oxygen, hydrogen, helium, more gases are there. So, what will happen means with the iron found in rocks, it will react with this and form of iron oxide. So, this process similar to the rusting of iron, pressure of air and water is known as oxidation, which result in the weakening of rocks. Next one, carbonation. Carbonation is the mixing of water with the atmospheric carbon dioxide, forming carbonic acid. So, carbonation is the carbonation and the water together will form in the atmospheric and form what? Carbonic acid. Carbonation is important in the formation of caves in limestone region. Where we can see this carbonation means mostly near the area of caves and the limestone region. When the carbonic acid react with the carbonate rock, the rock get disintegrated. So, please listen. Carbonation is the mixing of water with the atmospheric carbon dioxide. So, in the atmosphere, what also we have? We have carbon dioxide gas also. By mixing of this, carbonic acid will form. At the same time, carbonation is important in the formation of caves in limestone region. When the carbonic acid react with the carbonate rocks, the rock get disintegrated. Next one is the solution. What do you mean by this? The process of dissolution of rock substance in water result in the loosening of rock particle. This in turn break down the rock. How it has break down the rock? Because of the dissolution of rock substance in water, resulting in the loosening of rock particle. So, because of that also the rocks are break. Next, hydration. How this hydration will happen? Absorption of water into the mineral structures. Certain chemicals in the rock enlarge in size in humid conditions. How it will be? In the moisture conditions. So, these minerals found in the rock swell and this result in the development of cracks and the rock wears down. So, this type of weathering is called as hydration. So, in the atmosphere we are having this water also. Water react with this mineral structure. Certain chemicals in the rock enlarge in size in the humid conditions. So what happen means these minerals found in the rock soil, it will be get swollen and thus result in the development of cracks. Cracks will form and the rock will fall down. This type of weathering is called hydration. Next one is the biological weathering. We all see some trees will grow on the near the mountain or on the buildings. Because of some animals, crow, rabbit, rat, like that. Because of that, trees are grown up of the stones, hills, etc. So, biological weathering occurs due to the penetration and expansion of plant root, earthworms, burrowing animals like rabbit, rat and some human activities. Because of that, what happened? The rock will be break into smaller pieces. Next one is the gradation. Gradation is the process of leveling of land by means of natural agent. Which are the natural agent? rivers, groundwater, wind, glaciers, sea waves, etc. These are the natural agent. Due to this natural agent, what happen means gradation will occur. So this gradation is the process of leveling of the land by means of natural agents like rivers, groundwater, winds, glacier, sea waves. These agents produce various gradational relief features in due course of time. Gradation or denudation is the leveling, wearing down of land surface by various natural agents. Next one is the gradation. This gradation takes place in two ways. What are the two ways, types of gradation? Aggradation and degradation. Aggradation. What is the meaning for this? Aggradation. Aggradation is building up of landforms due to natural agent. So please listen. What do you mean by aggradation? Aggradation means it is the building up of landforms due to natural agent. Natural agent like rivers, or seas, waves, etc. Degradation. How this degradation occurs is eroding of land surface. So aggradation means building up of landforms. Degradation means eroding of land surface. Gradation means erosion plus transportation plus deposition. Because of this only gradation was formed. How this gradation formed means erosion plus transportation plus deposition. Because of all these things only what was formed, gradation was formed. Next, agent of gradation, running water. Which was the agent of gradation? There are many agents: rivers, rain, glaciers, springs, lakes, etc. So here mainly we are going to learn about the river, fluvial landforms. What was that? The work of running water is the most extensive among all the other agents of the gradation. So we all know, we all have seen the rivers. In this river, from where this river will originate, where it will start? On the higher landforms. Higher landforms in the sense of mountain, hills and plateaus. There only the rivers will originate that receive water from various sources like the rain, glaciers, springs, lakes, etc. The place where the river originates is called its source, and where it joins the sea is known as its mouth. Please listen. The work of running water is the most extensive among all the other agents of gradation. So rivers originate on higher landforms like mountains, hills and plateaus that receive water from various sources like the rain, glaciers, springs, lakes, etc. The place where the river originates is called its source, and where it joins the sea is known as its mouth. Courses of river. Rivers generally originate from mountains and end in the sea or lake. The whole path that the river flow through is called its courses. So actually we know from where this river will originate, from the course, from the mountain or hills, and where it will end in the sea or lake. Next, the course of a river is divided into three. What are the three types of courses of river? The upper course, the middle course and the lower course. The upper course, from this picture itself you can understand from what this river was originating. Mostly the river was originating in the upper course like mountain or hills or etc. And how this water was moving. It was moving very fast, and also it was moving in a steep mountain slopes. So what will happen if it move in very fast means it will be eroded, along with that more things, more rocks are disintegrated. So erosion is the most dominant action of river in the upper course. In this course, a river usually tumbles down the steep mountain slopes. The steep gradient increases the velocity and the river channel performs erosion with great force to widen and deepen its valley. So what are the different land features of upper course? The different land features of upper courses are V-shaped valleys, gorges, canyons, rapids, potholes, spurs and waterfalls. Next one is the middle course. From this picture what you understood? In this middle course, it won't be like as much of speed like the upper course. It will be the water is flowing in to the plain surface. So the river enters the plain in its middle course. The volume of water increases with the confluence of many tributaries and thus increase the load of the river. Here after coming to the plain, it will be separated into many tributaries. Tributaries, what is the meaning for tributary? Kilaygal. So this the predominant action of river is transportation. Deposition also occurs due to the sudden decrease in velocity. The river in the middle course develops some typical landforms. Which are the landforms of this middle course? They are the alluvial fan, floodplains, meander, oxbow lake, etc. Next is the lower course. Lower course, the river moving downstream across a broad level plain is loaded with debris brought down from its upper and middle courses. So from this upper and course and the middle course, the river has carried some debris. Debris means what? Some waste products, some rock, sand, leaf, etc. So large deposit of sediments are found at the level bed and the river splits into a number of canals called distributaries. The main work of the river here is deposition and it developed typical landform like delta and estuary. So next one is the erosional landforms of river, gorges and canyons. See, when the river flows through a mountainous region made up of hard rock, it forms a valley with almost vertical sides called gorge. So from this picture we can find out which was the starting point of this river. It is the mountain source and here interlocking spurs, V-shaped valley and also waterfalls. At last where it was end in the sea. So in India, deep gorges have been formed by Brahmaputra and Indus in the Himalaya. A deep gorge with steep sides that runs for hundreds of kilometers referred to as canyon. Example, Grand Canyon of the river Colorado in the USA. So please listen, erosional landform of river gorges and canyons. So where we can see all this in India, it was formed by Brahmaputra river and the Indus river. When the river flows through a mountainous region made up of hard rock, it forms a valley with almost vertical sides called gorge. Here in India, deep gorges have been formed by Brahmaputra and Indus in the Himalayas. A deep gorge with steep sides that runs for hundreds of kilometers referred to as canyon. So, what do you mean by gorges and what do you mean by canyons? Gorges means when the river flows through a mountainous region made of hard rock, it forms a valley with almost vertical side called gorge. And what do you mean by canyons? Canyons means it will be a deep gorge with steep sides that run for hundreds of kilometers is referred to as canyon. Example, Grand Canyon of the river Colorado in the USA. Next one is the waterfall. You all know this waterfall. For example, we can see this waterfalls in Kuttalam waterfalls also. When a river flows in a region where hard rocks lie over soft rocks horizontally, the soft rock get eroded quickly and the hard rock projected outwards. Thus, the river falls vertically from a steep slopes to form a waterfall. When the water falls with great force, it erodes and rock material beneath and create a depression called a plunk pool. Shallow, fast-flowing water in a stream is called a rapid or river jumps. So the highest waterfalls in the world is Angel Falls in Peninsula. What was that? 979 meter. So waterfalls. What do you understand about waterfalls? Please listen, students. When a river flows in a region, particularly in one region where the river was flowing, means in that the hard rocks lie over soft rocks at the time, which will be eroded first. Soft rock only get eroded quickly than that of the hard rock. So the river falls vertically from a steep slope to form a waterfall. When the water falls with great force, it erodes the rock material. And also it will create a depression. What was that depression called? A plunk pool. Shallow, fast flowing water in a stream is called a rapid or river jumps. So sometimes they may ask one word question. What do you mean by plunk pool? That means rock material beneath the and create a depression called a plunk pool. And also what do you mean by rapid or river jumps? Shallow, fast flowing water in a stream is called a rapid or river jumps. So another one word question they may ask, which is the highest waterfall in the world? Angel Falls. How much meter? 979 meter. Where it was situated? It was situated in Peninsula. Next one is the V-shaped valley. On seeing the picture itself, we can easily understand how this valley was. A V-shaped valley is formed by vertical erosion of river, where the valley is deepened and widened. How it was? With the help of this river flowing, often it was flowing, it will become as a V-shaped valley. Next one, pothole. Pot means what? Isn't it? There, if you put on hole, how it was like this. Due to the river action, cylindrical holes are drilled vertically in the riverbed with varying depth and diameter. These are called potholes. Next one, meander. What do you mean by this? On seeing this picture, what you can understand? It is like a snake moving here and there, isn't it? As the river loaded with debris flows slowly, it forms sweep loops and bend. It is referred to as a meander. So when the river was carrying along with the river, the waste products such as stone, leaf, alluvial soil, many things. Slowly it will form sweeping loops and bend. It is referred to as a meander. Next one, Oxbow Lake. Ox. What do you mean by ox? In Tamil we will say Kaalai. The Oxbow Lake. Meanders in due course of time become almost a complete circle with narrow necks. So this in turn get abundant and form a lake. This is called an oxbow lake. The world's largest oxbow lake is depositional landforms of river. There are two types of depositional landforms of river. They are alluvial fan and floodplain. Alluvial fan. What do you mean by this alluvial fan? A fan-shaped deposition made by the river at the foothills is called an alluvial plain. Floodplain. What do you mean by this floodplain? Fine sediments are deposited on river bank where a river flood. These sediments make the region rich and fertile. This is called a floodplain. So this height of the river bank get increased due to continuous deposition of a flooded river. Levees are formed. Estuaria is formed where the rivers meets the sea. Deposition or slit by the river is not possible here in the estuary like delta, as if the waves keep on eroding the deposition. Example, river Narmada and Tapti. See, what do you meant by this estuary? Where this river has met this sea. River and the sea meeting area. Both these was meet in one place. That place was considered as estuary. So, once again I recall a depositional landforms of river. So, alluvial fan, a fan-shaped deposition made by the river at the foothills is called an alluvial plain. Here, this soil also rich in minerals. Next one is the floodplain. What do you mean by floodplain? Floodplain is the fine sediment or deposited on river bank when a river floods. These sediments make the region rich and fertile. This is called a floodplain. So here, as the height of the river bank gets increased due to continuous deposition of the flooded river, levees are formed and estuary. Estuary is formed where the rivers meets the sea. So here also deposition or slit by the river is not possible here in the estuary like delta, as if the wave keep on eroding the deposition. So which is the example for this estuary? River Narmada and Tapti. Sometimes they may ask question, give an example for estuary, river Narmada and Tapti. It was where this river Narmada and Tapti has end. In which sea? It was end in the Arabian Sea. Next one is the delta. What do you mean by delta? A triangular shaped low-lying area formed by the river at its mouth is called delta. What do you mean by delta? Actually, delta means it is what is the shape of this triangle? For triangle, three sides have. Deltas have fine deposits of sediment enriched with mineral. Example, Kaveri Delta, where it was this Tamil Nadu. So, this Greek letter has pronounced delta closely, resemble the triangular delta of the river Nile. The Ganga Brahmaputra delta is the largest delta in the world. So, which is the largest delta in the world? The Ganga Brahmaputra delta is the largest delta in the world. Okay, students, next one. Karst topography. What do you mean by this karst topography? It is the groundwater is an active agent in limestone region. Karst topography is formed due to the dissolution of soluble rocks such as limestone, dolomite and gypsum. Because of this dissolution of the soluble rocks such as limestone, dolomite and gypsum only, which was formed, karst topography was formed. Limestone topography of Western Solovian extend for a distance of 480 km in length and 80 km in width, which is termed as karst in the Slavic language. The world's largest karst area is the Nullambur, located on the Great Australian coast. Karst regions are also found in southern France, Spain, Mexico, Jamaica, western Cuba, central New Guinea, Sri Lanka and Myanmar. So please listen, what do you mean by karst topography? Actually, this karst topography is formed due to the dissolution of soluble rocks such as limestone, dolomite and gypsum. In this we can find out more limestone, dolomite and gypsum. It was formed due to the dissolution of the soluble rocks such as, which are the soluble rocks? Limestone, dolomite and gypsum. Limestone topography of Western Solovia extends for a distance of 480 km and 80 km width, which is termed as karst. Okay, it was in the Slavic language. Next one is the karst areas in India. In India, where we can find this karst area? Guptadam caves, it was situated in western Bihar. Robert caves and Tapshkar temple, Uttarakhand. Pandava caves, Pachmari, that is in Madhya Pradesh, Kuttumsa, Batsha district in Chhattisgarh, Bora caves of Visakhapatnam, that is in Andhra Pradesh. Next, erosional landforms of underground water. Mostly, this erosion takes place due to the process of solution. When rainwater mixes with carbon dioxide and enters into limestone region, it dissolves and destroys much of the limestone. As a result, landforms such as terra rosa, lapis, skin holes, hollow holes, dolines, uvals, Folger's caves and caverns are formed. So, due to this erosional landforms of underground water, most of erosion take place due to the process of solution. Okay. Thank you, students.